students, today we will talk about ethics in PR. Every profession has a moral purpose. Medicine has health, law has justice, public relation has harmony, social harmony. Every occupation demands honesty and trust, following certain written and unwritten rules of conduct, moral philosophy, values, dealing with moral duty or obligations. Quite often, PR professionals are tagged as spin doctors who are controlled by the manipulated demand of their company or client. Yes, PR services are hired by clients for a certain private purpose, and PR professionals do act as their agent to the media and for the external public. But please remember that PR activities are essential to the management function, and it do not act as a ready-made solution to turn a black picture into a white one. Some would suggest that public relation professionals are tasked with doing the right thing, but what is the right thing? The study of ethics helps identify the process public relation professionals use to make decision about what course of action is the right one to take. Now let's talk very briefly about what are ethics. At its simplest, ethics is a system of moral principles. Ethics affect how we make decisions and live our life. Ethic is about what is good for individual and society, and it can also described as moral values. The term is derived from a Greek word ethos, which can also mean custom, habit, character or dispositions. Simply put, a decision making process to understand the right from wrong. The definition of ethics explained by Pearson stated that public relations ethic is the application of knowledge, understanding and reasoning to question on what is the right or wrong behavior in professional practice of public relations. A proper ethical choice among public relation professionals have a potential to foster community by creating and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships. Now, philosopher divides ethical theories into three areas. The first one is meta-ethics, normative ethics, and the last one is applied ethics. Meta-ethics deal with the nature of moral judgment. It looks at the origin and the meaning of ethical principle. Normative ethics is concerned with the content of moral judgment and the criteria for what is right or wrong, whereas applied ethics looks at the controversial topics like war, animal rights, capital punishment, etc. Now, public relation professionals should have an unimpeachable ethical standard that develop trust from client and the public. Now, what are the obligations of a PR professional? Let's say. Now, it is the dedication to the client, commitment to the public, duty to the profession. Let's talk about code of ethics. A code of ethics or professional conduct outlines the ethical principle that direct choice, decisions and action at a corporate or an organization. They draw a map of how staff should conduct itself as well as precise direction for managing issues like harassment, security or any conflict of interest. Now, code of ethics is also known as code of conduct. Why ethics are important in PR? Let's say ethical ambiguity often result in issues related to trust and reputation. It is very important for a PR practitioner to maintain trust of its public. Any dubious behavior of PR can lead to the questions like, can I trust this organization at all? And this could sink the goodwill of any organization. Ethics determine the reputation of not only yourself but also the business or corporate you work for as a PR person. Ethics can be a gray area. for some people and organization, as not everyone sees eye to eye on certain issues or matter. This is because ethics are based on personal morals, which can be different from person to person. Individual morals come from your upbringing, an environment you are raised in, from your family, from your friends, from your community, your neighborhood. All these factors make this is a very tough subject to talk about in an organization, and even harder to implement a moral code. Now, each organization has its own code to follow, as there can't be a single code for every practice nor business. However, the code of ethics set in public by the Professional PR Association like Public Relations Society of India or Public Relations Society of America, probable criticism of PR, or let's say the possible ethical issue a PR professional can face or come across. First is misleading the audience, biased approach, image over reality, half truth, edited truth, and withholding information, and acting as a barrier to communication, and directly or indirectly paying media to get so-called independent and or objective views or opinions, add to the service cost or the product cost, which has to be borne by the consumer, spreading propaganda, creating superficial events, and bailing out or the promotion of questionable industries and organization. Let's go through a small case study to understand that how things can go wrong if you do not follow the certain code of ethics or do not follow the code of conduct. This case study is about Facebook and Burson Marsteller, which is a PR agency, Google campaign. Now I will show you a small video where you can have a brief idea what happened.
Dan Lyons from the Daily Beast broke a really incredible story about Facebook and their embarrassing smear campaign against Google. All right, they completely got caught. What they did is they hired a top-of-the-line PR firm, and they had the PR firm send out a pitch to an online privacy advocate, and they told the privacy advocate, first of all, the subject of the email was Google sweeping violations of user privacy. Okay, so of course this online privacy advocate was curious about it. He read it, and of course the PR company is accusing Google of collecting information without people knowing about it and using that information to sell to third parties. Basically the same thing that Facebook does, by the way. That's how Facebook makes its money.
Right. Well, that's why they wanted to throw Google under the bus.
That's why they wanted to throw Google under the bus. Now, let me just tell you, when the PR firm sent that pitch to this online privacy advocate, they did not disclose who their client was. And, you know, this guy was like, okay, well, I need to know who your client is. And they're like, we can't share that information with you yet. And the privacy advocate was like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to publish your email so the rest of the world can see it.
Drums.
So he did that. And, you know, people were able to investigate it and trace it back to Facebook. And now Facebook is completely exposed.
Yeah, they're so shady, right? And I know they're rivals, etc., but there's no need for that. Facebook is already a multi-billion-dollar company. What do you got to go throw dirt on Google for, right? I mean, it's kids' play. You know, they're being so childish.
Because Facebook is scared. And the reason why Facebook is scared is because Google is extremely powerful, extremely successful, and they're now launching a social networking site of their own. It's known as Google's Social Circle. And Google allegedly took information from Facebook to create their social networking site. Okay?
So much drama.
So much. No, I love it though. It's exciting. So, you know, Facebook doesn't like it. They feel a little threatened. You know, they don't want to become the next MySpace. So what are they going to do? A little smeary smear.
A little smeary smear. Here, Google, take this. A little smeary smear.
But it
See how you
didn't
like
work.
that?
It didn't work.
Okay. Except they got a smeary smear, eggy on their face.
Absolutely.
I guess they were a little jelly of Google.
Okay, we gotta stop.
Okay.
We gotta stop. So, by the way, Facebook is completely denying that it was a smear campaign.
Of course they are.
They're saying that, everything that was in that press release was accurate, and that, that's it.
You know what? That campaign, it reminds me of Republicans. We have the theory of projection, which, by the way, is like the greatest theory of all time. Like, whatever they accuse you of, that's secretly what they were thinking of doing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what Facebook does. As I said before, like, all they do, haven't you guys ever noticed? You don't pay for Facebook, okay? So how do they make the money? They make money because they sell your personal information to third parties. The third parties are the advertisers. So when you're on your Facebook page and you see an ad on the side, if you're a woman who likes to go shopping or whatever, you see an advertisement on the side of your Facebook page for a shoe company, you think that that's coincidence? It's not a coinkydink, okay?
Well, that's the, look, I think most people know, but maybe a lot of people don't know, but that's the whole business model of Facebook. It's, there aren't a lot of, there's a lot of different ways to make money online, right?
Right.
But Facebook's whole business is structured around, let me figure out what you like and tell an advertiser, so an advertiser will pay me more money to direct that ad towards you because you're more likely to buy. Now, they're barely getting started on all that. I mean, the data collecting they've done already massively. Mm-hmm. But serving the ads, I actually think they've been incredibly slow on. But doing this is cheesy.
It is cheesy, and it makes you look bad. Totally discredits you. Eventually, you're gonna have a computer disaster, your computer is gonna crash, and you're gonna lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.
Now, this is the infamous case of Facebook engaging the big public relation firm to build up a campaign against Google. Some also name this smear campaigns against Google. Now, what was the problem? What was the dilemma? When it comes to the digital world, Facebook and Google are the giants and always competing to move ahead of one another. In early 2011, Facebook decided to go for a campaign targeting specifically Google's privacy practices. They hired the PR firm to pitch story ideas to media, focusing on Google's social circle, which tracks data activity through social media of Google users. The PR firm shared the idea with the media without revealing about their client, which was Facebook. Now, Facebook used this controversial method to try to shift the online privacy spotlight away from itself and onto its rival, Google. But this strategy failed. When a blogger disclosed Facebook's behind the scene role, which eventually forced the company to explain its strategy. According to the statement released by Facebook, no smear campaign was authorized or intended. Instead, we wanted third parties to verify that people did not approve of the collection and use of the information from their accounts on Facebook and other services for inclusion in Google social circle, just as Facebook did not approve of use or collection for this purpose. We engaged Burson Marsteller to focus attention on this issue using publicly available information that could be independently verified by any media organization. The issue are serious, and we should have presented them in a serious and transparent way. What happened after this? At the end, the PR firm has to part away with their client, and they also had to issue a statement where they said the Facebook requested that its name be withheld on the ground that it was merely asking to bring publicly available information to light. But the spokesperson added, Doing that was not at all standard operating procedure and is against our policy, and the assignment on those terms should have been declined. So what is the moral of the story? Whatever the justification is, this was not a standard operating procedure and it was against all the PR ethical code of conduct. Now, and all the shady work should be declined on the account of ethics and morals. When talking to media, PR firm should follow strict standard of transparency about the client, and this incident highlighted the utter significance of this basic principle. Now, public relation professionals confront many challenges when it comes to abiding to the code of ethics in the professional front. They have to make sure that they are responsible for the interest of the society, the client and the employers. In most situations, these three have different expectation, different requirement and different ideas. It is really tricky to achieve perfect symmetry all the time. Therefore, a PR personnel face ethical dilemma at so many occasions. The modern state of ethics in public relation practices relies greatly on codes of ethics held by the major professional association. But please remember, membership in these associations is voluntary in the sense that one is not required to belong to such association to practice public relation, unlike the bar association for the lawyers. Now, however, members agree to abide by the code of ethics provided by the association. These code of ethics act as a written guidelines in terms of what is considered forbid activity and what comes under the area of ethical principles. Now, whether written in positive or negative term, most of the professional associations in public relations have code of ethics. Now, let's talk about some professional association and their codes. I'm going to start with IPRA, the International Public Relations Association. It was established in 1955 and is the leading global network for PR professionals in their capacity. IPRA aims to advance trusted communication and the ethical practice of public relations. PR practitioner conduct is a reflection of the organization he or she represents. Therefore, his or her behavior must go far beyond ignoring the legal implication. The demand for a common code of conduct for PR practitioner was realized as far back as 1965 when the International PR Organization gave the issue of ethics a serious thought. Now, let's come to IPRA Code of Professional Conduct and Ethics. These are also called Code of Venice. The following code of conduct was adopted by the International Public Relations Association IPRA at its General Assembly in Venice, May 1961, which was later amended in 2009 and is binding on all members of the association. IPRA Code of Professional Conduct, Personal and Professional Integrity. It is understood that personal integrity is meant the maintenance of both high moral standards and a sound reputation. By professional integrity is meant observance of the Constitution, rules and particularly the code as adopted by IPRA. Conduct towards client and employers. First, a member has a great journal duty to fair dealing towards his client or employers, past and present. A member shall not represent conflicting or competing interests without the express consent of those concerned. A member shall safeguard the confidence of both present and former clients or employers. A member shall not employ methods tending to be derogatory of another member's client or employers. In performing services for a client or employer, A member shall not accept fees, commission, or any other valuable consideration in connection with those services from any other than his client or employer without the express consent of his client or employer, given after full disclosure of the facts. Next is, a member shall not propose to a prospective client or employer that his fee or other compensation be contingent on the achievement of certain result, nor shall he enter into any agreement to the same effect. Conduct towards the public and the media. A member shall conduct his professional activities in accordance with the public interest and with full respect for the dignity of the individual. A member shall not engage in any practice which tends to corrupt the integrity of the channel of public communication. A member shall not intentionally disseminate false or misleading information. A member shall at all the time seek to give a balanced and faithful representation of the organization to serve some announced cause, but actually to serve an undisclosed special or private interest of a member or his client or his employer, nor shall he make use of it or any such existing organization. Conduct towards colleagues. A member shall not intentionally injure the professional reputation or practice of another member. However, if a member has an evidence that another member has been guilty of unethical, illegal, or unfair practices in violation of his code, he shall present the information of the Council of IPRA. A member shall not seek to supplant another member with his employer or client. A member shall cooperate with fellow members in upholding and enforcing this code. Often, other than above codes, IPRA members are also required to abide by the Code of Ethics, known as the Code of Athens, as the IPRA General Assembly adopted in Athens in May 1965, amended later in 1968 and 2009. This code obliges every IPRA member to observe a strict moral code. Now let's talk about Public Relations Society of India, PRSI. PRSI, the National Association of PR Practitioners, was established in 1958 to promote the recognition of PR as a profession and to formulate and intercept to the public the objective and the potential of PR as a strategic management function. The society functioned as an informal body till 1966, when it was registered under the Indian Society Act. Its headquarters was in Mumbai. The father figure of professional PR practitioners in India, Kali H. Modi, was the founder president of PRSI from 1966 to 1969. Now, the International Code of Ethics, also known as Code of Athens, this same International Code of Ethics was adopted by the Public Relations Society of India at the first All India Public Relations Conferences, New Delhi, April 21st, 1968. Now, considering that all the member countries of the United Nations organization have agreed to abide by its charter, which reaffirms its faith in the fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of human person, and that having regard to the very nature of their profession, public relation practitioners in these countries should undertake to ascertain and observe the principles set out in this chapter. Considering that apart from right, human beings have not only physical or material need, but also intellectual, moral and social need, and that their rights are of real benefits to them only insofar as needs are essentially met. Considering that the course of their professional duties and depending on how these duties are performed, public relation practitioners can substantially help to meet these intellectual, moral, and social needs. And lastly, considering that the use of techniques enabling them to come simultaneously into contact with millions of people give public relation practitioners a power that has to be restrained by the observance of strict moral code. All these grounds, Public Relations Society of India hereby declare that it accepts as its moral character the principle of the following code of ethics, and that if in the light of evidence submitted to the society, a member of this society should be found to have infringed this code in the course of his professional duty, he will be deemed to be guilty of serious misconduct, calling for an appropriate penalty. Now, accordingly, each member of the society shall endeavour, first, to contribute the achievement of the moral and cultural conditions enabling human beings to reach their full stature and enjoy the indefeasible right to which they are entitled under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Second, to establish communication pattern and channel which, by fostering the free flow of essential information, will make each member of the group feel that he is being kept informed and also give him an awareness of his own personal environment and responsibility and of his solidarity with other member. Third, to conduct himself always and in all circumstances in such a manner as to deserve and secure the confidence of those with whom he comes into contact. To bear in mind that because of the relationship between his professional and the public, his conduct even in private will have an impact on the way in which the profession as a whole is appraised, shall undertake to observe in the course of his professional duties the moral principle and rules of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to pay due regard to and uphold human dignity and to recognize the right of each individual to judge for himself, to establish the moral, psychological and intellectual condition for dialogue in its true sense, and to recognize the right of the parties involved to stay at their case and express their views. Next, to act in all circumstances in such a manner as to take account of the respective interest of the parties involved, both the interest of the organization which he serves and the interest of the public concerned. Next, to carry out his undertaking and commitments, which shall always be so worded as to avoid any misunderstanding, and to show loyalty and integrity in all circumstances so as to keep the confidence of his client and employees, past or present, and of all the public that are affected by his action. Shall refrain from subordinating the truth to other requirements, circulating information which is not based on established and ascertainable facts, taking part in any venture or undertaking which is unethical or dishonest or capable of impairing human dignity and integrity, using any manipulative method of techniques designed to create subconscious motivations which the individual cannot control of his own free will and so cannot be held accountable for the action taken by them. Apart from all the code we discussed, it is also imperative that organization also provide guidelines for PR activities specific to organization, spell out the expectations from PR personnel to in black and white, classify the do's and don't of conduct, set down well-written rules on how to deal with media, install a sense of duty not only towards the organization but for all the stakeholders including community. Now let's watch a small video.
Good day, everyone. It's PRSA Ethics Awareness Month, and I had a question for everybody because it's something that's been on my mind. I'm actually taking an ethics class for my master's degree. So I want to ask you PR pros that are out there, what is the greatest ethical dilemma we face today as public relations pros? Leave your answer here on Facebook, tweet me on Twitter at jsmolika, and let me know. Let's start a conversation of what we think the greatest ethical dilemma that faces our industry is today.
The video was posted by PRSA while celebrating Public Relation Ethics Month, and for that the organization invited various experts to contribute. One of the contributor was Jason Mollica. He is the president of JRMC Communication, a strategic public relation and marketing firm in USA. In this video, he posted this video on various social media platforms and he asked the question, what is the biggest ethical challenge we face as public relation professional today? He got a lot of reply on Facebook, Twitter and FB. I just wanted to read one of it, and it is by Nicole Kelly, CEO of SME Digital. She posted on Facebook. I think it is transparency, true authentic transparency versus what is the best interest of shareholder and stock price. So one more important comment which came was that PR pros must not be afraid to deliver bad news to C-suits. C-suite is basically your CFO, CEO, CO, CIO and etc. Now, ethic is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. With this, I finish my lecture. Thank you.